Hello everyone, and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video I'm going to be breaking down my summoner for Wolcen Lords of Mayhem. It's actually been the #1 character that's been requested from me, and it is my main character for this game. So what I'm going to be doing is breaking down the skills, the points, the gates of fate, and the items to recreate this build. Now in here right now, I am in an expedition level 133. I know that's not low, but it's also not high. Just to kind of give you an idea of how strong this build can be at 133, then later after I break it down, we will jump into a level 170, 171. We'll clear that because this build truly can hit end game, okay? Now what I'm going to do is just show you a few minutes of gameplay, then I will get into everything else. I'm going to be using Anomaly to pull everything together, Plague Burst to add added damage modifiers, my 3 Liver Mortises set up as Punishers, and then bring it all home with Annihilation. Now right here in this 133, everything should pretty much die instantaneously. It's pretty fast. Pretty simple, like I'm not even going to shoot right now, let's see what the summons can do. Okay? So all I'm doing is dropping Plague Burst and Anomaly to pull everything together, and then let the summons do their thing. I haven't even shot. I know I have a bear with me right now. They started at the beginning. Alright. Go get him. Okay, now watch when I use Annihilation, okay? Literally everything is just disintegrating, and this is a 133. My life literally hasn't even moved. It's a strong build. Obviously these little rats, yeah. I mean, let's try it again. Okay, we'll go to the champion really quick and see how long it lives. Alright. There they are. Okay, I'm not shooting it right now. It's just my summons. It's pretty fast, right? Okay, let's jump out of this and I will show you how to recreate this and then show you what it can do at 170. Okay, so to recreate this build, let's start with the Gates of Fate. Now in here, in order to accomplish this skill tree, you need to be level 76, okay? I'll try and go slow so it's easy for you to duplicate. Obviously throughout here, like, you can just snap a picture too, so you don't always have to re-reference the video, okay? So what you want to go first is Scholar. Scholar is actually where you start. And you go up here, and the first real node you get is Attrition Strategist, okay? Which gives you a 60% ailment chance score, which is huge, okay? So you go right through here and grab that. Then you come up, and you're going to go to Kabbalist, okay? Now in here, this is where it's going to give you all your huge ailment damage increases, including being able to have more ailments than just one. So you literally want to grab every single node in here, okay? Don't take these ones and the ones throughout the middle, but just follow this tree right up the center, and then to the outside, inside, outside, okay? Now, once you have everything in Kabbalist, you want to go up to Time Weaver, and Status is where you're going to get your main damage output from this build, which is this node, which is, my opinion, the best node in the game right now. When you have Status on a person you're fighting against, you will do 100% increased damage, okay? And you want to grab all this. And then you want to also get differential wounds, which damage dealt after the delay is increased by 20%. So you want to grab this node, and you want to come right over here and grab this node. Dire Juncture will make sure that you don't get one-shotted. Basically, the damage that you get hit with is deferred over time, so when you're later in the game, it'll make sure you don't die. Okay? Plus 5 ailment stacks, plus 5 ailment stacks. Okay, so you start with Scholar, go to Kabbalist, then you are at Time Weaver, and just grab all of those. Okay, now once you are done with that, you just head on over, down, down, down. Now, if your weapon does not have the 5% life leech, which most weapons have. But if you don't have that, this node right here is required. So Feast for the Crows gives you a 2% global life leech, okay? I don't have that clicked because my weapon gives 5%. But again, if your weapon does not have that, that one is required. Some life leech is needed, okay? And you come right down here and you actually go to Ranger. It's the only green nodes you're gonna take, okay? This is 25% damage to enemies with impaired movement. And why do you want that? Because right here, 25% status chance score on ether damage. Since you're gonna have status up the entire time, you need to grab this one node. So you do 25% increased damage on top of that, and then an additional 25% chance score, okay? So you grab Ranger. Then you go up here on Eos, and you grab Dawn's Pious Striker. Now, dealing sacred damage instantly kills enemies under 15%, and this is only smaller enemies, but then when you take its little sudden death, it also works on champions. For me, it's probably my second favorite as far as nodes. So basically, right when someone hits 15% life, they just explode and die. For champions as well. So when you're talking about clear speed and trying to get through people as fast as possible, I mean, you're going to be killing people so much faster because you don't have to worry about that last life. Very important, and it will help you kill champions faster. So cool. Very important. All right. Now you're done with that side. You don't continue down. Now you're going to jump over and you're going to go to Soldier. Okay, so now you start back at the center, and now you are going Soldier, and go in this order, okay? Now in here, these are just kind of quality life nodes. 10% maximum health, 10% maximum health, 20% resistance score, 8% maximum health, resistance, willpower on hit, movement speed, wisdom. This is probably the only one that's like completely useless, but that takes you into Warlock, where 100% spells critical chance score when your willpower is above 75%. Now, a lot of time your willpower is going to be pretty high on this build. Even though you're continuously channeling, a lot of the gear we use makes it so your channeling does not go down fast. So, huge damage increase when you get Reigning in the Darkness on Warlock, okay? So you're boosting your resistances, you're getting more life, and then you're getting more damage. Now, you're probably wondering, like, why I didn't get this a long time ago. Now you are coming over to Plaguebringer, which is all of your summons damage. Now, this is a summoning build, okay? Now, in here, all these nodes used to not work. So 15% damage, 15% damage, and 10% damage, and 10% damage did not do anything. All these nodes now work. So it will increase the damage of your summons, okay? So you want to grab all the ones that give 2 damage, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you're getting 10%, 15%, 15%, and 10%. So 50% increased damage to your summons. Then you want to grab this one, toxic damage. Your character is going to be all material damage. So you always want to get toxic damage, health regeneration on your summons, and then under Plaguebringer, for Sacrifice of the Flesh, this will make sure your summons don't die. At least don't die very often. So in this one, you're going to lose life and force shield, but it's going to be given to your summons so they take less damage, okay? So let me read it. You lose 20% of your health and 20% of your force shield, but all summons take 25% less damage. Now, if you grab this one, you lose 5% of your health and 15% of your force shield, but they take an additional 20% less damage. Same thing here. 10%, you lose 10% of your health and 10% of your force shield, but your summons take 20% less damage. So that means a 65% reduction in damage for your summons. Now, a lot of people take this third node. This would make it so you have 85% damage reduction on your summons. I don't take it right now because you take a 15% hit to your overall health. So my summons do die, but they don't die very often. It's normally only when I'm fighting champion packs and I'll just resummon them. But if you're getting into a point where your summons are dying all the time, you can take this third one. You'll just take a hit to your health. Okay? This is extremely important. Very important. So that's like the third most important. Actually, maybe the second, okay? Status, damage, kill people under 15% life, keep your summons alive, okay? Now you are going to go over to Siege Breaker. This is basically a skill that everybody has on almost every build. And this is, what this does is you are required to have a heavy chest piece and a heavy armor, or a heavy helmet. When you have those two, it is going to boost your resistances severely, okay? So now if you have this node, what it's going to do if you have a heavy chest piece is all resistance score is doubled, okay? And then if you take the little node that comes off of it, also allows bonuses to be dependent on the helmet. So gains resistance score equal to 1 multiplier by all resistance score on equipped heavy helmets. So it just gives you huge resistances if you have a heavy helmet and heavy armor, okay? So those are really like the big four. This node, this node, this node, and this node. Okay? Now, once all that is done, you continue on down the line. Okay? Now, under Praetorian, 6% added block chance and allows any weapons to block. Now, when you take this node, it makes it where you could actually block with your staff, which I know is really silly and it's like kind of OP, but it is important to keep you alive. When you're playing this game, you'll see block, 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 block over and over again. So this will make it where your staff can block, and then you just want to come right down the line and grab all of these. So under Praetorian, it's 0.75 damage per percent of physical resistance. You're going to have a ton of physical resistance. 25% health regeneration, 12% attack damage, 5% block, 20% block efficiency, 25% all resistance score for you and your allies after a hit is blocked. So now while you're blocking, it's also boosting your resistances. Okay. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast. Like, let me see if I can... Well, that's... I guess there's no way to snap a picture of the whole thing. So, I'll zoom in a little bit just to make sure that you guys can see it. Come through, grab all these, go up, over, up, up, down, up. Then you want to come over, grab this if you don't have life leech on your weapon, Ranger, Eos, start back at the beginning, come up, Warlock, all of your summoning builds, Sacrifice of the Flesh, come down, come back over, okay, Siegebreaker, come back over, block chance on your staff, and then come down. That is the Gates of Fate. Okay, moving on to points when you level up for your character. This is super easy. It's not even debatable. Ferocity, you need 0. Agility, you need 0. And Wisdom, you need 0. All of your points. So right now I've got 1,248, all go into toughness, okay? Now this character is going to be mainly life. You're going to always have a little bit of force shield, but it'll be almost nothing. Ferocity, agility, and wisdom really don't help you. Wisdom would help you a little bit just because of the ailment, but your main damage is going to come from your summons and the skills that you're using. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt you, but toughness is where it's at for this build. Now, when you're looking at your skills, on here. I already kind of touched on them on the intro video, but now I'm going to show you what skill modifiers to take, starting with Anomaly. In my opinion, probably the best skill in the game. Go ahead and like snap a picture of this so you can reference it later on. You want to start with increases the area of effect. The larger it is, the more it pulls the enemies in. Ailment damage plus 40%. Skill duration 2 extra seconds. That's very important because you want to keep it up as much as possible. Vortex pulls multiple enemies in. They'll try and escape, and the vortex will continue to group them together so you can kill them faster. You can have 2 vortexes out at a time. Obviously 2 is better than 1. You'll be able to do double the damage. And then rounding it out with increases the ailment damage dealt to enemies within the vortex's area of effect. So again, damage on top of damage. That is Anomaly. Then you move over to Plague Burst. So you're going to have 2 rings up simultaneously. On here, 40% ailment damage, 40% ailment chance. The skill can be cast anywhere. So normally Plague Burst is only around your character. When you take this skill modifier, you could place it anywhere on the map, which is of course going to be on top of your Anomaly. Average damage 10%. Whenever an enemy is killed, they leave this like poison cloud. Your character does mainly, it actually does all material damage, so that poison cloud will do toxic and hit everybody around it. Critical chance score 40%. Increase the damage dealt by the enemies that explode, and critical chance damage 25%. Again, just all damage boosts. Now obviously this is a summoning character. I've tried skeletons, they die too fast. I've tried archers, they've died too fast. And then if you use the main tank, Liver Mortis, it doesn't do enough damage. So the sweet spot on here are the Thunder Cracking Punishers, okay, which you saw in the intro video. Now on here, you will have to duplicate the skill twice, and I will show you how to do that. But what you want to do is increase damage, increase attack speed, because obviously they're shooting, you want it to be like a machine gun. Increase damage, receives a portion of the damage dealt to you. So the reason why this build is so tanky is because when you take the damage, it then gets received to your summons. So they take a huge portion of your damage, and you have 3 of them. And then the last one here is the actual creating your Thunder Cracking Punishers. Okay, rounding this all out is Annihilation. And on here, this is the most important one, which is Pierce, okay? So obviously it hits every single enemy in front of you. 40% critical chance score. Converts your ether damage to toxic. Again, this is a material build, so you want it to be toxic damage. Grants a buff that deals toxic and ether damage to allies within the beam, also receive a buff. So this is how you directly buff your summons, by shooting them with your Annihilation, and then decrease the costs, so how long you can shoot it for. Now those are the skills that you want, and again with Annihilation you want to shoot your summons. Okay, now how do you duplicate a skill? Well, you go right here, and when you have the skill maxed, okay, you can go to you could click duplicate, so this would light up. So you'd have this max, you'd click duplicate, then it would pop up here, my 1 duplicated skill. Then once you have this maxed, you can duplicate that, which then makes it pop up here, okay? Now you can't duplicate skills until you have gone up here, and you, which one? No.
I was just telling this young
No.
tale from the glory days.
Where are you? So right here, you have to go to the laboratory and you have to complete this, the diamond tools. Once you've done that, you can create 2 duplicates at where I just showed you, the lab, okay? So you have to come here, knock out the laboratory. Once you finish that, it will unlock your ability to do your duplications once you have your skills maxed. Those are the skills you need. Moving on to gear for this character. Now I want to be as clear as possible. Your gear can always get better. I don't consider the gear I use even true endgame. I know it can be so much better, but it is an unfortunate realization that the drops that you get when you play aren't super great. So most of the time you have to craft great rares that you find into the dark market in order to make endgame gear, okay? So on here, I'm going to show you what I use. Now, most of the time, you can stick to only heavy items because heavy normally drops with toughness, and toughness is the main stat, the only stat that you use for this build. So really stick to heavy items. Now, let's start with my staff. The staff is literally only a 2-star level 112. So I could still, if I wanted to, go to the dark market and I can up its quality 3 times. And on here, you want to look for spell damage, like flat spell damage twice, for spell percent damage, life leech, and then some kind of ailment chance. Okay, so on this one it rolled so good that I haven't really had to upgrade. I got spell, life leech, and occult ailment. And then on here you want it to have 2 ethers in a sacred socket. It's a really good staff for 112. Okay, moving on to boots. I got flat damage, toughness, movement speed, and then all resistance. So you always want all resistance on the item when you can get it. And then this rolled as quality 5-star. It's a good pair of boots. Pants, and we'll just go right up from here. 26% of damage, toughness, all resist 191, but what makes these pants special is the fact that it does cooldown decrease of skills. And I will talk about that in a second. So damage, toughness, cooldown. These pants would be awesome if they also had the, transfer time. If they had transfer time, they would literally be perfect, but only missing 1 stat isn't too bad for pants. My belt right now, it's not super good. I'm going to upgrade the belt. I refuse to use the trial belt on this build. If you have it, you can use it, but I don't want to use it. 45% of material, huge to maximum life and health regeneration. This belt is not very good, but it's what I'm using right now. Moving on to rings, you always want to try and find flat damage if you can. So like this ring has 2 flat damages and material. So it's okay. It's not great. And then this ring does material, 1 flat damage, transfer time, and then maximum health. Okay. On my gloves, both of them, well, this one does material damage, toughness. Like this is the next thing I plan on upgrading. It's probably the weakest item I have on my build because it doesn't give to transfer time or to resistances. So it's kind of weak. So this is going to be the next thing to go. But then this glove gives to all resist and all resist percent and toughness. So when it comes to resistance, this is really good glove. As far as my chest, you want block chance, 40% material damage, transfer time, and cooldown. It's a very, very good heavy chest because I got transfer time and cooldown and material and block chance. And then the sockets that you want on here are block chance and 1 health. For shoulders, material damage, toughness, you try and get transfer again. These ones I did not get it, but again, you would normally want it heavy because that's where you're going to roll your toughness on. And then on this one, damage, I'm only using this right now because I got the cost decrease and resistance type on it and toughness. My shoulders kind of leave some to be desired. And then the best item that I have right now is my level 159 4-star helmet, 40% to material damage, 36% to transfer time, and 33% to cooldown. The helmet's really good. Now, and then my amulet's not anything great. Material damage, and then on there, willpower regeneration, all resistance, and health regeneration. It's not that great either, but again, like I said, this build I'm going to be able to roll over 170s, and the items can still be heavily upgraded. Okay? Now, my helmet, 33% chance cooldown of skills. My chest, 32% cooldown decrease of skills. And my pants, 33% cooldown decrease of skills. You need 3 items to have 30% decrease, which would make over 90%. Why is that so important? Because this skill, Anomaly, you want to keep up all the time, and you want to be able to make 2 when you can. So watch this. So you got your Plague Burst and your Anomaly. It's still up. And it's still up. And it's still up. With decrease over 90% on 3 skills, you can keep Plague Burst, and Anomaly up the whole time. And if you do it enough, you can have multiple stacks of them. That is huge. Now let me show you. If you don't have cooldown decrease on, you have to wait almost 5 seconds before you can cast it again. I mean, that in itself, it probably seems like 5 seconds, that's nothing. That is huge when you're fighting bosses, champions, and packs of like trash monsters to knock out. So decrease skill cooldown time for this build is extremely important. Now obviously, I mean, you'd still be okay if you didn't have it. It would just be an annoyance because you would wish you could have it so much more time up. So that is the gear you need. And again, oh, I forgot one last thing. As far as gems go, you always want support 3 on your belt, rings, and amulet so that you can put the 25% transfer time reduction, willpower, and rage. Okay? Why is that? Watch this. Look at my willpower. In a fight, yes, when you're hitting a whole bunch of other skills, you can run out of willpower. When you are channeling Annihilation, it is very, very hard to use up all of your willpower. That is how long you can shoot it for when you make sure that you have transfer time decrease on all of your items. Okay, time to show you what this build is capable of. Right now we are on an expedition level 170. Got my 3 Punishers ready. And again, you can finish this build by hitting level 76. Anomaly, Plague Burst, shoot. And again, you want to make sure your Annihilation hits your characters every once in a while so they get the added damage bonus. Pulls them all together. Look at my character blocking. Do you guys see that? Hold on, let me not shoot for a little bit. Oh, my guys keep killing them all. Shoot him. Okay. Alright, I want them to shoot me. So you can see how often my character blocks. Block, 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 block. Stop shooting the rock. Alright, let's see what we got over here. Ah, this guy's gonna take a little bit of time. I forgot to mention what you want to change one of your skills to when you're facing one hard person. Let me kill this guy and then I'll show you what to do. Kill all the packs first, then we could focus fire on the main champion. Get out of here. But do you see how tanky my character is? It's level 170. And just the block keeps going. Alright. We're now focused on only hitting him. I'm not even shooting. These are just my summons. Look at his life. I am not shooting him. And then once he's under 15% health, he will explode. Done. Thank you, thank you. Okay, let me tear through a little bit of this and then we will fight the boss. It's time to challenge the boss on this expedition level 170. Now there is one thing that I forgot to mention in this guide, and that is when you are facing one person like a boss, there is something that you want to change, just as kind of like a quality of life skill. Under Annihilation, you want to click off Pierce, and you want to click this, 20% more damage, and then click this, 10% more damage. So you're going to go from negative 30 to positive 30, which means you will do 60% more damage than you did prior. Since sometimes you are only fighting one person, sometimes they'll make summons or whatever, you will kill the boss a lot faster. Okay, I don't even know who's over there. Let's do it. Ah, it's the jumper. Okay. So whenever you're fighting a boss, you have to make sure you keep your summons alive. Because if you don't, you will normally die fast because, again, they take so much of the damage for you. Yeah. Quit jumping around. Look at his life already. Stand still. And again, he's already at half life. Once we get him to 15% life, he will disintegrate. Come on. Yeah, keep jumping. Stay right there. Shoot. Dude, this character blocks so much of the attack. You dead, bro. Done. Level 170 expedition. We have come to the end of our expedition, level 171, and we got Demon of Flesh, which is not an easy one. It's not the worst one, but come on. See how long I could just stand here for before he kills me. I don't want to fight the cultists. This character can take damage. So far, so good. The character's strong. You will die every once in a while. Sometimes your summons will die and you didn't realize they died, so then they're not taking the damage for you, so then, yeah, you get one shot or something like that. But for the most part, if your summons are alive, it is pretty hard for them to kill you. He's not gonna make it. This is a level 171 on the 3rd floor of the expedition. So the hardest of the hard bosses for a 171. So far, I don't think my life has passed halfway. Looks like all my summons are still alive. And he's almost dead. Remember, with this build, all you got to do is get them to 15%, and then they explode. Easy. Come on. Give up. Done. So like I said earlier, I feel like my gear is not that great. Maybe one item is true end game gear, so the gear can be a whole lot better. My skills, good. But I'm only this is all done by level 76, so you can have 14 more nodes that you can grab on this skill tree. So you can have way better gear and an additional 14 levels if you hit level 90. This just pushed a level 171 expedition, and honestly, it was not difficult at all. I did not die once. I don't think my life got more than half, even when I was standing right in front of him. So it shows what this build can push. But that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this game guide. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. You could email me, or the best way is you could join the official Action RPG Discord, where then I could talk to you directly and we can go back and forth and I could help you with this game guide. And the link to the Discord is in the description below. That's all I got. Stay home, stay safe, join the Discord. Aaron, out.